inch of time is an inch of gold. You hear that old saying, and it really sticks with you, doesn't it?
It absolutely
It
does.
gets you thinking, like, how do we even put a value on something like time? And what does that valuation, say about our overall well-being?
That's a huge question. It taps right into that basic conflict, I think. We have limited time, but this sort of endless drive for, well, for more. More stuff, more
Yeah,
experiences.
exactly. And that's kind of the tension we're looking at today.
Mm-hmm.
It actually got me thinking because of this really strange story I read from India. Get this. Someone actually sued a movie theater. Yeah.
Suda Cinema. For what?
Because there were too many ads and trailers. It made the movie start late, and apparently he missed an important phone conference because of it.
Wow. Okay, that sounds
Uh,
extreme. But also kind of telling, you know?
right. It tells you how much we value our schedules, our attention, especially now everything's so packed.
Totally. How late was it?
Well, according to the reports, there were 17 commercials, 2 PSAs, and then a bunch of trailers, added up to half an hour delay.
Half an hour. Okay, that's
And
significant.
here's the kicker. He won the case.
No way.
Yeah. He got 50,000 rupees, which
Yeah.
is what, around 4,400 RMB, something like that,
Yeah.
for that lost half hour.
Okay, so they put a price tag on his time.
Exactly. And this is where my brain went into overdrive because, okay, it's a super specific situation, probably not a reliable way to calculate anything, but
Oh, yeah.
if you extrapolate just from that award, it's like saying his time is worth, I don't know, maybe 10 million RMB a year.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, that's a lot. Even if it's just a fun calculation.
And it just makes you stop and think, right,
Yeah.
what is our time actually worth and how does that connect to feeling, wealthy or fulfilled?
That's the perfect lead-in. Because that bizarre little case, it really opens the door to a much bigger conversation about what wealth even means. It pushes us way beyond just the money aspect.
Which brings us neatly to what we're diving into today. There's this new book, Making Waves, came out February 4th, 2025. It's called 5 Types of Wealth, a transformative guide to designing your dream life. The author is Sahil Bloom.
Ah, Sahil Bloom. Yeah, I've seen his stuff. He comes from finance, right? An investor, but also does a lot of writing.
That's him. And the book apparently just, like, exploded. Hit #1 on the New York Times bestseller list its first week.
Wow, okay.
And it's got some pretty big endorsements, too. Tim Cook, the Apple CEO, mentioned it. Plus, it's been all over X, lots of discussion.
That quick success definitely suggests he's hitting on something people are thinking about. This idea that maybe, just maybe, there's more to a good life than just the financial bottom line.
Totally. So that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to unpack Bloom's framework, these 5 different kinds of wealth he talks about.
Understand what they are, how they fit together.
And crucially, how thinking about them might actually help you design a more, fulfilling life.
Mhm.
We'll pull from the book, look at some related research too.
Yeah, the goal is to give some clear takeaways, some actionable ideas without it feeling too heavy or complicated.
Exactly. Just a fresh perspective on what real wealth looks like.
Right, offering a different lens, maybe, beyond just dollars and cents.
Okay, so let's start there, the big picture. What are these 5 types of wealth, according to Sahil Bloom?
Okay, so Bloom breaks it down into time wealth, social wealth, spiritual wealth, physical wealth, and then the one we all know, financial wealth.
Time wealth. Okay, that one jumps out immediately, especially after that cinema story. It's about having control over your time, right? Your most finite resource.
Precisely. It's not just about having empty hours. It's more about the autonomy, the power to decide where that time goes.
To put it towards things that actually matter to you, things that give you a return in terms of, like, joy or learning or whatever your goals are.
Exactly. That personal ROI on your time.
And social wealth. That feels pretty intuitive. Relationships, connections.
Yeah, the quality, the depth of your connections. Friendships, family, love, your support network. Bloom really emphasizes this.
Both how many connections and how strong they are.
Right. He argues strong social wealth is like a foundation. It kind of boosts all the other types of wealth. Like, what's the point of tons of time or money if you've got no one to share it with, right?
Makes sense. Okay, spiritual wealth. That sounds a bit fuzzier. What does he mean by that?
He frames it as your sense of purpose, meaning that feeling of being connected to something bigger than just yourself.
Like an internal compass.
Kind of, yeah. It guides your choices, gives you motivation that isn't just about external rewards. It's understanding what's truly important to you. Think about someone volunteering. They're not doing it for money, but because it aligns with their values. That's spiritual wealth in action.
Okay, I get that. Physical wealth, probably the easiest one to grasp. Health, energy.
Your vitality, basically. And he makes a key point here. Unlike some other types, physical wealth naturally tends to decline over time if you don't actively work on it.
So it needs constant upkeep.
Yeah, proactive care.
And finally, financial wealth, the one everyone thinks of first. Assets minus liabilities. The money stuff.
That's the one. And look, it's obviously important. It provides security, opens doors, but Bloom's argument is that it's just one piece of the pie. It shouldn't be the only goal.
What I found really interesting is how he connects these ideas not just to modern research, but also to like ancient wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
He suggests thinkers like Socrates or Confucius and Mencius over in the East, they were talking about similar principles for a balanced life ages ago.
That's a great point. Like Confucius emphasizing social harmony and ethical living.
Totally aligns with social and spiritual wealth, right?
Absolutely. It shows these aren't exactly brand new ideas, but maybe the modern data, the way Bloom frames it, makes it hit home differently for us today, especially when we're constantly told to just, chase the money.
And speaking to chasing the money, the book brings up some findings that really go against that, like that Harvard Business School study from 2018. Professor Michael Norton.
Yes, the millionaire study. Fascinating stuff.
They asked millionaires how much more money they'd need to be truly happy.
And the answers are kind of shocking, aren't they? Even people with significant wealth, they often felt they needed way more.
Like double or triple what they already had.
Yeah. It perfectly illustrates that idea of hedonic adaptation. We just get used to things, even good things like more money. The baseline shifts, and then we want more to get that same feeling of satisfaction.
Bloom shares stories from his own friends too, right? People he knows who are wealthy.
He does. Like an entrepreneur worth $30 million saying he needed $60 million. Someone with $100 million wanting 5 times that. Another with $25 million feeling they needed 2 or 3 times more.
It really nails that concept he calls the arrival fallacy.
Explain that one.
It's that mistaken belief that if you just reach that one goal, usually a financial one, then poof, you'll arrive at permanent happiness.
But we're wired differently, aren't we? We reach a goal, we adapt, and almost immediately we're looking at the next peak. There's always another mountain to climb, another goal to chase.
Yeah. And the book really drives home that beyond a certain point, more money doesn't actually buy much more long-term happiness.
Right. The curve flattens out significantly.
Bloom even mentions talking to people in their 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Asking them for life advice.
And what did they say? I bet it wasn't, make more money.
Exactly. Overwhelmingly, they talked about relationships, health, love. Those are the things that mattered most looking back.
It's such a grounding perspective. Money helps, sure, provides security, options, but it's not the core of a well-lived life, is it?
It seems not. And Bloom really pushes for actively measuring, at least assessing these other forms of wealth, like time wealth.
Yeah, not just counting free hours, but asking, am I spending my attention wisely on things that give me the best return and fulfillment?
High leverage activities, he calls them.
Right. And with social wealth, it's looking at the quality of your relationships, not just how many followers you have.
Okay, so he lays out the concepts, but does he offer ways to, actually do this?
He does. He introduces 3 really practical tools in the book. The first one is called the Life Raiser.
Life Raiser. Okay, what's that?
It's basically defining a single, super clear, non-negotiable principle for your life. A one-sentence rule that guides your daily choices.
Like a hard boundary.
Exactly. His example is Mark Randolph, the Netflix guy. His life raiser was apparently having dinner with his wife every Tuesday, period, no matter what work thing came up.
Huh. So it has to be something you can actually control yourself.
Yes, self-controllable. And ideally, it creates a positive ripple effect. He also mentions a manager whose raiser was to do one anonymous good deed every single day.
That's cool. A small thing, but done consistently, it shapes who you are and how you interact with the world.
It really does. It reinforces your values, guides you almost automatically. Find that one core thing.
Okay, tool number 2.
The anti-goal. This one's interesting too.
Anti-goal.
Yeah.
So what you don't want.
Pretty much. It's about defining what you absolutely refuse to sacrifice in pursuit of a primary goal, even if avoiding it means you might not fully hit that main target.
Okay, give me an example.
Like saying, I want career success, but my anti-goal is sacrificing time with my kids, or my anti-goal is damaging my health. It's about avoiding what he calls a Pyrrhic victory.
Ah, like King Pyrrhus. Won the battle but lost so many soldiers it wasn't worth it.
Exactly that. Winning the goal, but the cost is just too high in terms of these other types of wealth. What did you really gain?
Got it. And the third tool?
It's the high leverage system. This
Hmm.
is all about focus, putting your effort where it counts the most.
Finding the 20% of effort that gives 80% of the results kind of thing?
Sort of, yeah. But across all 5 types of wealth, focusing on the critical few things that yield disproportionately huge rewards.
Like who? Any examples?
He mentions Lionel Messi, how he conserves energy on the field, seems to be walking around sometimes, but then explodes into these incredibly impactful plays. Or Warren Buffett, not trading frantically, but making very patient, long-term bets on a few key opportunities.
So it's about identifying your most crucial levers for creating wealth in all its forms, time, social, etc., and really leaning into those.
That's the idea. Strategic effort, maximum impact across the board.
There's also that personal bit in the book about Bloom himself moving back east for a while.
Oh, yeah, to live with his parents.
It felt like a really concrete example of someone actually living these principles, right?
Yeah.
Prioritizing time wealth, social wealth, those family connections.
Absolutely. It shows it's not just theory. It translates into real-life choices, sometimes big ones, that reflect this broader definition of a rich life.
So wrapping this all up, Sahil Bloom's 5 types of wealth is really a call to widen our lens, isn't it? Look beyond the bank balance.
Definitely. See the richness we might already have or could build in our time, our relationships, our purpose, our health.
True wealth is like a mosaic, not just one color.
Beautifully put. And he makes a strong case by mixing that modern research like the millionaire study showing more money doesn't equal more happiness
Right, that arrival fallacy trap.
with timeless wisdom. And the reflections from older people really hit hard, don't they? At the end of the day, it's connections, health, love.
Mm-hmm. Things money can't always buy. And his framework gives us a way to actually think about, maybe even track, those less tangible things like, am I using my time well? Are my relationships deep and supportive?
And those tools, the life razor, the anti-goal, the high leverage system, they offer some concrete ways to start applying these ideas. They give you a structure.
So we've covered a lot here.
Mm.
As you've been listening to this deep dive into Sahil Bloom's ideas, maybe take a second to think. Which of these 5 types of wealth time, social, spiritual, physical, or financial, feels most important or maybe most lacking for you right now?
That's a great question to reflect on.
We genuinely love to hear your thoughts on this. Jump into the comments section and let us know what resonated. Which type of wealth are you focusing on?
Yeah, let us know.
And hey, if you found this discussion useful, maybe learned something new, definitely hit that subscribe button. We do these deep dives regularly, exploring valuable ideas.
We appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.